Thanks for, checking out the videos, showing a little bit of support. How about you take it to the next level and show us some love over there on Patreon, huh? Huh?
Oh, God. I don't even know how to do a yo-yo-yo this morning. God damn it. Oh. It's like you always know when you're young. Like, when you're young, at like some point you figure out that like people are gonna start dying. Like just before you. It's not like, oh, like, I hope this guy dies or something, or like, like it's gonna be like, oh, like, this person is just gonna die because people die. It's like, no, I mean, like, it's a logical thing being like, oh, well, this guy's older than me. So even if our life expectancies, like, let's just say, like, even if they're, like, supposedly high, like, let's say, like, nothing happens, you don't get hit by a truck, you don't get, like, any kind of, like, old person disease or anything, then, it's like this person, though, like, it's just that you live to a certain age, and this person's probably going to die before me. And, like, you get to a certain age where you're, like, you accept that as, like, fact. Like, I don't know how old you are. Maybe it's, like, when you're a kid or, like, a teenager when that happens. I don't know. But yeah, I just, this is one of those rants that's going to be released right when it happens, It's so funny because I have, like, a backlog of, like, 9 that I haven't released yet. But it's just, like, I don't know, I wanted to talk about this today because it matters to me, It matters, like, I want to remember this day for myself, It's like, Hulk Hogan, the Hulkster. Mr. Terry Bogard. I know that's not his name. I wonder if the guy who made Fatal Fury, if he purposely named fucking Terry Bogard after Hulk Hogan. I don't know how to pronounce Hulk Hogan's last name. It's like Baboe or something. It's just, but yeah, like, Hulk Hogan, Terry. Like, if there was any Terry, it's so funny because there's one guy named Terry Funk or something, right? Like, he used to fight with, like, Mankind or something. And, but that guy always just came off as, like, an old guy who just could get the shit kicked out of him. But, like, whenever I think of a Terry, like a non-Japanese Terry Bogard, I think of fucking Hulk Hogan, Like, a guy that was just, like, he's tan. Like, there's something about the brown and the yellow, Like, this guy would fucking bleach his eyebrows, like, and his fucking facial hair. Like, goddamn, dude, just, it's so funny, I grew up, I'm recording this in the morning, by the way, why I'm yawning. But it's like, I never, like, when I was a little kid, like, I was born in the 80s, right? Like, kind of born in the 80s, raised in the 90s kind of thing. And, but, like, the thing that people, maybe, like, younger people don't realize is that, like, when you were living in the 90s, you were constantly reminded of the 80s. Like, 80s movies, 80s TV shows. Like, all this shit was always on TV and stuff, and they'd always have, like, the best of something, right? And, God, it's so funny, like, how kids these days, especially kids that are being born right now, like, you're never gonna, like, they're never gonna understand why Hulk Hogan dying is such a big deal for people who were born, like, before the internet was a thing, like, were raised before the internet was a thing, because it's just, like, everything nowadays, it seems like it's low quality. It's just trying to get your attention, like everything, like, it seems like a watered down but glossy version of everything that used to be cool, like in the 80s or 90s. I don't know, it's just like, it's like, I watch this guy named Kurt Bell almost every morning. He's an American guy who lives in Japan. and he's like 60. He's retired, and I've known this guy for like almost 20 years now. You know, like he was a Japan YouTuber before I was a Japan YouTuber, and so for the last like 20 years or so, he was working or whatever, and now he's retired and he likes to sell antiques. Like, that's the thing. Like, he doesn't need money. He's got plenty for retirement. He's got like Social Security and a pension, and his wife has money too, like from her job and her pension. Like, the guy's not hurting. Like, he's not a super multi-billionaire, but he's not hurting for money either, you know? And you know, it's just like this guy, but still, like, he's retired and he's like bored though. He's like, I can have hobbies, but they're not as fulfilling as like when I'm making money. And so he sells, but he's like, he wants to make money doing something that he enjoys, right? And I don't think he makes a lot of money from YouTube. So, you know, what he does is that he likes like going to flea markets with his wife and buying antiques. And so he sells antiques, and like half of his YouTube channel is basically him showing off the antiques that he bought to promote them to sell to other people, right? And you know, I remember when I was a kid, my mom would have antiques, and it was cool. She had antiques from like all around the world. When I think about it, like she had like you know, like I grew up in a pretty like, you know, even though my mom was like, she wasn't a bad parent, she just wasn't there, you know, kind of thing. Like she was just drunk and passed out most of the time. But it's like there was a lot of cool like culture in my house, at least decoration wise, growing up. Like she had all these different like Buddhas and stuff from like Asia, and she had like Sanskrit stuff from the Middle East or something, and she had like you know, what is it, like the Swedish horses or something, like those wooden horses. Like she had a bunch of different shit from all around the world, but it wasn't like stuff you buy at Walmart. It was all like used stuff from like flea markets, and they were all antiques. And I always thought they, like when I was younger, I thought they were kind of lame. I'm like, what is this shit? Blah 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 blah. But now that I'm older, it's like I understand why. Like every day that I get older, the more I understand why people collect things like antiques, you know, like our parents collected antique stuff, like maybe baseball cards or like sports memorabilia or something. But like, you know, it's like the women, they always collect like decoration type things, and the guys collect things that are like, you know, memorabilia, right? And it's funny because it's just like, you know, as you get older, like people from my generation, they collect things that are like retro. Like they'll collect like games and toys and VHS and stuff, like more media kind of related shit, right? And you know, it's just when you were growing up as a kid, like I guess the point I'm making is like now it feels like everything's disconnected. Like everything is a watered down version. Like it looks nice, like the fucking, what do you call it? Like the production value is nice and high. It looks like really 4K glossy. Whoa. Like really, really nice. But everybody is smarter now these days, or at least they see through the bullshit a lot more. So like, you know, like back in the day, like nobody knows how TV worked. Like they don't know how like, you know, they didn't even know what green screens were. They didn't know how like TV broadcasting worked or whatever. But now it's like anybody can Google anything. Like you can figure out, oh, like everybody and their mom could be a YouTuber or a live streamer these days, right? Anybody can make a YouTube channel. Anybody can make a brand. And it just seems like because there's less concentration in like controlled media, when it comes to entertainment, like the quality is less. Like, you know, it's like, you know that thing where it's like less is more, right? Like while I'm talking to you guys, I'm watching the match of Hulk Hogan between him and Andre the Giant, and it's so smart. Like I can see the difference. Like, you know, this is in CRT, cheap setting kind of thing, right? Like this is like low quality picture, but this was high quality at the time, right? But even there's small things like it's just, for example, all the mats are like blue. The ring is like red, white, and blue. It's like very American, and like they purposely turn down the lights in the whole stadium and shine the lights on the ring. And it's like, I haven't watched wrestling in a while, but I don't remember wrestling being like this, you know? Like, or like recently, if I saw things, like, you can see the whole stadium pretty much if you look at, like, a wrestling match or whatever. But in this one, it's like, the focus is entirely on these dudes, you know? And, I don't know, man. It feels like back then, because there was so much concentrated effort towards the media you were seeing, when you saw it, like, you were more likely to get something that felt genuine and authentic, and it felt like you were watching some history go down, even though it's just some made-up bullshit. Like wrestling's not, it's not real in the fact that it's random and impulsive. Like wrestling is very thought out, it's methodical, and all the stories are fake. Like, you know, it's just like bodybuilders acting. It's bodybuilder masterpiece theater, you know? Nothing more, nothing less kind of thing, right? But at the same time, it's like these guys were characters, you know? Like, this is the 80s, right? Like, this is back when there was no internet, so you had the freedom of not comparing yourself to everybody else who might have done something similar to you. Everyone's, like, fucking high on cocaine, so their creativity is supercharged. And, you know, they just, it's different, right? Like, it's, I don't know, man. It's just fucking, it felt like more real, you know? And I just, yeah, today fucking, I woke up to take a piss, like, my fucking, my curtains, I need to fix my curtain cover, because my curtains, they have, like, a gap of, like, 1 or 2 inches in them, and the sunlight bleeds through, and I had to wake up to take a piss, and then, you know, as soon as I try to lay down, I'm like, okay, I gotta take a shit again, and I'm like, okay, fine, I'm up, and yeah, it's just like, goddamn, like, and then I'm checking my phone while I'm, you know, doing my business, and then people in my Discord are like, oh my god, like, you know, Hulk Hogan died, and people message me on my Twitter and like, did you see Hulk Hogan died? People message me on my Facebook, did you see Hulk Hogan died? And I'm like, god damn, dude, like, fuck, like, you know, he wasn't just a celebrity that died if you have random friends messaging you about this stuff, because it's like, it's people that didn't even like wrestling or didn't even care about wrestling. They're talking about, like, anybody who knows, like, wrestling, and, like, I'm not one of those older guys, like, you know, I should just say, full disclaimer, that, like, if you're 40 and you're still watching modern day pro wrestling, it's and you're not, like, a bodybuilder yourself or somebody who's maintaining a body like a pro wrestler, it's really pathetic, and you should stop. Like, you should stop. Like, you know, like, no, like, you need to have grown out of that. Enjoy the wrestling of your nostalgia. Don't enjoy the modern wrestling. It's all lame. And I know that might have pissed off some people, but I don't care. I think that, like, you just compare it. Even just compare the costumes. You know, he had that fucking Ultimate Warrior. He had to put face paint on all the time. Like, you know, like Sting, he had to put face paint on all the time. Like, when was the last time you saw, like, a wrestler that was really, I don't know, man. You know, it's just different, right? It's just fucking different. And I don't know. I just I see this stuff and I don't know. Like, I go on Twitter and all the right people are saying that, you know, they're sharing the memories of Hulk Hogan, and they're sharing how much they fucking loved him and everything. And unfortunately, I never got to meet Hulk Hogan. You know, I never got to see him in person, and it's just like, you know, which is ironic because, like, he died a couple days after Ozzy Osbourne died, and Ozzy Osbourne did, like, one big mega show before he died, and I wasn't even like a really big fan of Ozzy's music. Like, I mean, I didn't think it was bad. I was just saying I wasn't like it wasn't like one of those things that moved me like the music that I like, right? But I still respect the guy for like what all that he's accomplished, and I love the fact that his wife is just like she always you know, like even if I disagreed with her on political things sometimes, like she was a runner. Well, it was she was a ride or die for her husband, you know. Like, you never see celebrity wives like that, never. Like, they're always just so full of themselves, and they want to become their own. They want to be like Anissa in iDubbbz. They want to like just mooch off their husband's fame to gather whatever little fame they have from the attention of marrying the famous guy. And I never got that from Ozzy's wife, but. And somebody clarify for me, did Ozzy kill himself afterwards? Like, I don't know about Ozzy's. I didn't look into like anything, but I heard somebody reply that like he got in one of those suicide pods and he killed himself because he was in a lot of pain from like cancer or something. I don't know. I didn't Google or verify it yet, but maybe one of you guys in the comment section can. But yeah, apparently Hulk Hogan died by, he died by what do you call it? By like a heart failure or something. And I don't know if that means a heart attack or that he just like drop dead or something. I guess I could look it up later, but it's just you go on Twitter and you see all these fucking pathetic pieces of shit complaining about Hulk Hogan, and it's just I can see right through it. It's so obvious what they're doing, and they're just like, I don't like this guy, I'm trying to be edgy, I don't like how everybody liked this person, so I'm gonna bring up anything that I can to make this person look bad on the day that they died, so I can be cool to the fucking idiots that hang around me, and like, you know, and I can be edgy and I can get attention for my shitty life. And I don't know, I hate it. I mean, like, it's always gonna happen. Anytime like an iconic person dies, there's gonna be pieces of shit like that just need, like, you know, it's like, keep your fucking mouth shut, man. Like, you know, just keep your fucking mouth shut. And I don't know. I just like all these people are they just remind me of like everybody who you didn't like in school growing up, you know? Like the angry disruptive kid in class that like has no respect for anybody, causes a disturbance, and they're not like, everyone has to put up with them. There's that person. And then there's like the weak guy who like he's too afraid to be himself, so he just is quiet, but then he talks shit and criticizes people when nobody's around to hear, when everybody's not around to hear him. You know, it's just like all the mentally ill people that are like, you need to call me a fucking toaster because I'm a toaster. It's like all these people that, yeah, Hulk Hogan wasn't for them. Of course they wouldn't like him. He was the projection of masculinity. He was a projection of like everything that anybody should want to aspire to, you know? He should be the projection that of like, you know, it's like he's a guy who his character was, because it's not just about Hulk Hogan like Terry the guy. It's talking about like Hulk Hogan the character, the icon, you know? Like this guy was like the face of America for a while, you know? There's just something about, like, it's like a white guy, super bleached blonde hair, super floored tanned, wearing bright fucking sticking out of nowhere bright yellow clothing, you know. He even bleaches his facial hair. He's got all the, he's not just like a body, like, you know, because you can go to any gym around the world and you can find a bodybuilder with a personality of wood, you know. Like that's like all, like that's one of the reasons why we loved wrestling, you know, when we were growing up, is because it's like these guys weren't just a guy at the gym that's like, I like Halo. Like, you know, I don't want to talk about anything, but I like Halo. It's, you know, like Hulk Hogan was a guy who just like, yeah, he didn't just look the part, he played the part, you know? And everybody loved him for it. And it's like, if you're a big wrestling fan, like if you had like I was a big wrestling fan in middle school or something, right? Like, you know, right when I was in middle school, like it was the DX era or whatever, right? And everybody's like, you know, watching WWF on like USA and UPN, and yeah, like watching WWF Raw Monday night, SmackDown Thursday night. Like, it was a thing, you know? Like, for people, like, because that's the thing, right? You can watch sports, and sports is real for the most part, right? Like, these are guys that have been, like, honing their bodies forever, right? And they're, like, now millionaires. So you're seeing all these millionaires fucking fight other millionaires, and, like, you know, but, like, they don't have personality. Like, maybe one or two of them does, but most of them are quiet, or they're humble, or they're just assholes. But that's usually off camera. Like, on camera, they're pretty just boring and whatever, right? But, like, these pro wrestlers, like, they had style, they had personality, like, and they projected it, and it was fun. They were, like, real-life cartoon characters, you know? And they beat each other up, like, for fun. Like, you know, for our amusement. And they even had storylines of this. And it's just, I don't know, man. It's just something happened where, like, I mean, I think it's just like, well, everyone's like, oh, well, you grew up. And I'm like, well, you know, pro wrestling up until, like, I never really got into it until I was, like, a preteen or whatever. But, you know, if I had seen pro wrestling, or if I had people, because, like, the only reason I got into pro wrestling was because my friends liked it. And I wanted to, you know, I wanted to have something to talk about with my friends. But after I started watching it, I'm like, wow, this stuff is really cool. This is fun. Like, holy shit, why didn't I ever check this out before? And if any of you guys ever watched WW, or if you ever played WWF No Mercy, or WrestleMania 2000, then you'll know that Hulk Hogan did not have the coolest moveset out of anybody, you know? Like, his fucking final move, his, like, special move was a leg drop. Like, he didn't have the coolest moves. Like, like, you know, even if you're wrestling, like, if you're a real big wrestling fan, then you'll, like, because I don't consider myself a big one, because I only watched, like, that certain era of wrestling during middle school, but, like, I kind of knew about the eras coming up to that, right? And it's like, you know, Hulk Hogan, like, on a technical level, his moves weren't that he wasn't the fastest. He didn't have any cool moves. He wasn't super acrobatic, but, like, just the projection. They call it, the young people like to call it aura farming, you know? Like, he's just, like, when you see him, he's center stage and you can't look away. And, like, that goes to show, it's like, you know, some people, like, I went to a Japanese wrestling, pro wrestling thing with my buddy Jim not the other day, but, like, a couple of months ago, and it's like, these guys, they got moves. You know, they've got really cool moves, and they're very technical, but at the same time, it's like, it's not really interesting. Like, they're not entertaining to me, at least, you know? Like, you watch, like, it reminds me of when I was in middle school, and I'm like, yeah, like, you know, I watched, like, Japanese wrestling when I would see it sometimes or whatever. I'm like, oh, yeah, this is cool. I'm not really watching it for the story, but, like, it's technically, like, they're really good at doing this stuff, and they're more hardcore, and they do the death matches and shit, but, yeah, I don't know. It goes to show, like, yeah, Hulk Hogan, like, even if you didn't think, like, even if you really, really liked wrestling, and you knew that he wasn't, like, a super technical wrestler, you still enjoyed it for the fact that he was there. And, yeah, I also want to talk about him making movies and stuff, too, but right now, I want to talk about the movies that he did, and then I want to talk about the people talking shit and his scandals, and give my 2 cents on that, and why the scandal shit doesn't matter. But right now, I got to do my Friday premiere, and then I'm going to do a live stream, so. Okay, so what is this supposed to be? It's supposed to be like I'm, you know, I always, whenever I'm in the middle, I hope you guys do this too, whether you're a YouTuber or whatever, but, like, when I'm doing a YouTube project, I make sure to, you know, I learned this while working at a Japanese company, and, what I do is that, you know, if I forget easily some things if I don't write it down, you know, and at a Japanese company, you have to write down a nippo, and, the nippo, it depends on the company. Sometimes they want it to be very detailed. Sometimes they don't care. They just want you to fill it in really quickly or whatever, you know, they don't care. Because your boss, it depends on if your boss actually is going to review it or not, and if his bosses review, you know, your stuff. And so, yeah, but the first company I went to where they did that, they were hardcore about it. And then the second company I went to where they did that, they didn't give a shit. But it is a nice way to, like, kind of, like, well, one, you prove what you did. So if somebody asks you what you did, like, you don't need, because like we have calendars and stuff for like meetings and shit, but like, what did you do that day? And then it's like, okay, oh, I wrote that down, you know, it's good to go. But the point is that when I'm in the middle of working on this shit too, you know, that like, especially when it comes to videos, is that I'll write down in like a little text, like a text picture or whatever, like at the end of the video project, I'll write down what I did so far and what else I want to do, what's left to do. And on these rants, it's pretty simple, you know, like I already know like the aesthetic style of like what I want to do and how I want to keep this stuff or whatever. So it's just more about like, what do you want to talk about, you know, what are you gonna cover? And so we already talked about Hulk Hogan and 80s wrestling and how things felt real back then and everything. And yeah, it's been a day or two since I decided to continue this because I wanted to do this this other rant because, like, you know, sometimes like the rants are like a way for me to like you know, they help me vent and they help me talk about stuff and help me brainstorm stuff when I'm not necessarily remembering how to do that, right? And so, you know, it's funny because it's just like the other rant that I made, I've only, like, what is it? Like, I made this, and I was, like, recording it for, like, what, 20 minutes or so, and then, like, I had to go to work that day, and then this was on pause, and then the next day I was like, I'll continue the Hulk Hogan rant, and I'm like, no, I want to keep going, and, you know, the rant was, like, basically just, like, why are some people a piece of shit, and I was talking about specifically this guy named Edward Papanzini, or whatever the fuck his name is on Facebook. And he was this guy that I met who's a gaijin talento in Japan. And gaijin talento are foreigners that appear on TV. And I, you know, like, Tokyo has the biggest amount of foreigners, or at least English-speaking foreigners, probably, in all of Japan, you know? If you discount, like, if you don't count the, what do you call it, like, the military bases or whatever. But, yeah, you know, it's just like you get to meet all these different people that live around Tokyo, right? Like, especially when you're a foreigner and you're on TV, one of the fun things to do is that you know, is that you get to network and meet these people, and then sometimes you interact with them again, or sometimes you don't, right? But anyway, to celebrate Hulk Hogan, you know, and celebrate his badassness, I spent, like, you know, I teach at an international school every Saturday, and I teach them the same things, you know, reading, science, social studies, you know, very simple, just regular school stuff, right? And for social studies, I'll usually pick either a country that we talk about or a famous person. And the famous person that I chose to talk about was, like, Hulk Hogan, that, like, you know, like, this week, right? And so... and like, I hadn't thought about wrestling in such a long time, so I wrote down all the rules. Like, you know, I went basically through like my memory of WWF No Mercy for the N64, and I was like, okay, these are the types of matches. Like, you know, these are wrestlers. Like, I explained. In Japan, they have all of these. Whatchamacallit? They have all of these different fucking. They have these books called Zukon, which is kind of like encyclopedia, but I like to think of it as like Pokemon, like a Pokedex. Like, you know, like in Pokemon, when they have a Pokedex, they call it Pokezukon, and it's like, yeah, the index of all that stuff. But anyway, so I was showing them, like, when you open up those books, they have one for like a train, or they have one for like school. Like, it's a great way to learn vocabulary, especially if you're learning Japanese, because it just shows you the picture. Like, it'll show you like a train station platform, or like a teacher's room or something, and it'll show you like all the vocabulary. It's like, oh, this is a pen. Like, see that pen on the table? That's called a pen or something, you know. And so I drew them like a really elaborate picture of like the ring. And, like, you know, and each time I teach them, I give them 10 new words. And then I show them, I do the ADVJapan thing, and I show them how to use the word in the sentence, too. And so there was just, like, simple, basic wrestling moves, like, you know, grappling and all this other stuff. And, actually, I have a picture of it. Here, let me show you guys right here. Boom. Anyway, yeah, there you go. Boom. So, like, that's, like, whenever I teach the kids, like, I always, it's funny, this is actually my whiteboard that I bought when I had, like, when I was renting a house. And it's funny. I bought 2 whiteboards for myself, and I thought I would constantly be writing on them and like, you know, getting my thoughts out. And I was just like, nah, whiteboards are great for like teaching people, but if I need notes, I'll just I'll make my own or something. I don't know. Having a whiteboard, if I had the space, I would definitely buy a whiteboard again. But anyway, I mean, the whole point is that like I wanted to show the kids that like this guy was larger than life. You know, like this guy was like, you could not go anywhere and not see Hulk Hogan. Like, he was so iconic. And, you know, people could say, like, well, you know, there's people that, like, you know, oh, well, it's just his costume or the way that he looked. And it's like, well, that's a part of it. But, like, the way that he carried himself, like, he was such an articulate guy and stuff, too, you know, when he talked. And it's just, like, I was trying to explain that to them, that it's like, look, like, I wasn't, like, a super mega Hulk Hogan fan. Like, I thought, you know, when it came to like you know, when I really was into wrestling, like when I was in middle school, like there were other wrestlers that I thought were cooler than him, but like looking back, it's like the guy was so fucking iconic, you know. He was just so like he was everywhere, you know. Like he was in the Three Ninjas movie, like the shitty one on the mountain amusement park. You know, he was in all these different movies. Like, you know, he was on all these different TV shows. Like, he put the fucking, what's his name? The guy from Law and Order. He put that guy in a headlock, and then the guy fell down, and he cracked his head, and, like, he sued Hulk Hogan and shit. God, what is his name? I know Ice-T's partner. Why can't I think about it? Smeltzer? I forgot. Fucking, yeah, dude, you know, it's just like Hulk Hogan was a big deal, and I was trying to show them that, and the kids are like, why is he such a big deal? And I was like, where are your parents from? And they're like, they're from Japan. And I'm like, when your parents come to pick you up, let's ask them if they know who Hulk Hogan is. And, you know, and one of the kids is like, my mom doesn't like wrestling. And I was like, oh, they'll know though. And anyway, when the parents came to pick him up, they were like, oh yeah, they're like, Hulk Hogan died? What? And like, all the Japanese staff were like, what happened, you know? And, it's just like, yeah, like, you know, you've made a big fucking impact on the world when, like, you know, like, this isn't the same. You could never replicate this shit with any new stars in 2025, you know? Like, you could never do this, you know? Like, Hulk Hogan was, like, I mean, thanks to the internet, everybody is so separated by genre and different things, and every industry of media is just trying to min-max or whatever they call it, right? Like, they're trying to make the maximum impact with the lowest amount of money and the lowest amount of effort, you know? Like, they're not trying to make a thing that's a lasting legacy. They're just trying to make the most flashiest thing that will make the most quick money, and that's all they care about. And it's like Hulk Hogan, like, you know, like back then there was only TV, there was only movies, and he maximized, you know, like his presence on all of them, you know, whether it was by design or by luck. And anyway, you know, like I have a Facebook and I barely ever use it except for like as a Rolodex, you know, and like, yeah, like, I mean, that's what I always tell you guys. If you come to Japan, even if you think Facebook is for boomers, get a Facebook account and just start using it as a Rolodex for when you meet people, because it's gonna be a lot easier to contact these people later on if you need to meet up with them. And anyway, you know, it's just like, you know, I posted this picture, like it's the first like post in like maybe 6 months or whatever on Facebook. And I'm just like, oh, hey, like, you know, like, you know, I taught my students about Hulk Hogan. I showed them this picture or whatever. And I'm like, this is, you know, like, it felt really good to teach these kids about somebody who was a big part of my childhood. Like, you know, and, you know, like, I barely post on Facebook, right? So it's like I only got like maybe 2 comments from friends or something. And then this piece of shit, Edward Papanzini or whatever the fuck his name is. I'm purposely saying his name wrong to not dox him, but this guy, he comes out of nowhere and he's like, that guy, and he writes down like multiple paragraphs of just all these things that Hulk Hogan did that was bad. And I didn't even read it, but I clicked on his profile, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is a fat guy who looked like he dressed up like an Italian mobster during one of these gaijin parties I went to for like gaijin TV people, right? And I friended him, and like in hopes that like maybe, I don't know, that maybe he could hook me up with other people that do TV jobs here or something. It's always just like it's always good to see these people or whatever, like get the contact information. But he just goes on this negative fucking, just what do you call it? Just negative fucking thing over and over and over again, and it's just being an asshole, and he's, I was just like, I replied to him that I'm like, the guy hasn't even been dead for 72 hours, and you write all that stuff, like you're a class act, buddy. And then the guy writes back, he's like, oh, so you like seeing the world at a sugar-coated point of view, and he's like, you should focus on teaching your students the truth and everything, blah, 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 blah. And I click on his profile, and it's just pictures of this 50-year-old pathetic fat loser and all of his cats. He's got cats, he's got the gay pride thing on his fucking profile. Even though he's not gay, he's got he's got all these COVID masks on. He's got like, anytime like there was a SJW event on Facebook, he's got the thing like, like free Ukraine or something, free Palestine, COVID booster, get achievement thing. And it's like, this guy's obviously like a fat old loser who doesn't have any friends, who's never been married, or at least doesn't have kids, or if he does have kids, they don't fucking talk to him, and he's just so fucking bitter and alone, and he spends all of his time online just being negative and hating on everything. And I just replied to him. I was like, what's the matter with you, dude? Like, what's going on here, man? Like, normal people don't go onto people's, like, onto quote unquote friends' Facebook pages and just spout negativity when they're trying to remember somebody who meant a lot to them. Like what's the problem with you, dude? And he's like, it's not my problem, it's your problem, blah, 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 or some shit. And I was just like, dude, you need to, like, go get laid and, like, get out of the house, go touch some grass or something. And he's like, yeah, whatever, man, like, you're just a delusional. I'm like, I'm delusional. Like, you came on to somebody who's you barely ever interacted with Facebook page while they're mourning, and you just spin the face of the person they're mourning. And I was like, you live in Japan. Why do you give a shit about American politics? Like, if you care so much, why are you living in Japan? Go back to America. It's like, and like, I don't know, it justified even more, like, and all the people complaining about Hulk Hogan online were all, it's either loud, black, ignorant people who are just like, he racist, I don't like him. Or it's like fucking super SJW people complaining that he endorsed Trump. Or it's like all these people being like, well, actually, he was a shitty father and he was in these scams or whatever. And it's like, dude, like, there's no such thing as a perfect human, There's no such thing as a perfect person. Everybody has their flaws, but you got to look at the overall big picture. And it's like, did this guy make the world a better place? Yes or no? It's like, like if people wanted to say, like, if people that were like Hitler's like family or something, they're like, oh, but Hitler was a good guy. I'm like, nah, he killed a lot of people, dude. You can't. Ooh, you're not gonna be able to make that argument for Hitler or Pol Pot or Stalin or whatever. But it's like Hulk Hogan, like, despite whatever shit happened, like, he affected the world in such a positive fucking, like, you see videos of people when they're getting interviewed on the street, and there's this, like, fake glow about them, like Tom Cruise or whatever, it's just, like, smiling, but there's emptiness behind them, or, like, I don't know, like, the fucking, just all, I don't know, what's some other celebrity, like, the fucking, Seth Rogen or something. It's just, like, they're so used to putting up a facade that there's just no genuineness behind their kind face, But it's like Hulk Hogan, man. Like, it might have been because he grew up in Florida or something. I don't know. But it's just like anytime you see a fan came up to him on their fucking phone or whatever, he was just a genuine dude, Like, he just came off like he was that was the greatest thing about him. Like, like people, like Michael Jackson was larger than life too, but you never really got to see him be himself around people, you know? Like, you saw interviews and everything, right? But, you know, like, all the plastic surgeries and him fucking bleaching his skin and shit, like, the guy was obviously dealing with a lot of mental issues, and he tried to fix it with surgery and stuff. But, so it's like, you couldn't really say the same thing about Michael Jackson, because you never really got to see that quote-unquote human side of him that often, you know? But, like, Hulk Hogan, it's like, you know, it's just, like, what's the thing? It's like, if you meet a lot of people and they come off like assholes to you, the common denominator isn't these people, it's you, you know? Like, at some point you got to think that you're the problem, right? But it's like, you see Hulk Hogan, you see all these fucking stories of, like on his memorial page or whatever, like one of the fucking, like on his Instagram, all these people were sharing, like, yeah, I ran into him in Florida, I ran into him in New York, and, like, he spent the time to talk to me, and he treated me like an equal. Even, he's like this massive star that's known all around the world, and, like, I just ask him, like, you know, how he's going, and he spends like an hour getting a beer and talking to me. And it's like when was the last time you would see anybody do that in 2025? That's like a fucking, like, you know, like, you see things about like Keanu Reeves and stuff where it's like, oh, you know, Keanu Reeves was at a hotel and this couple recognized him and they asked him if he could be part of their you know, their wedding, and then he shows up, and it's like, well, yeah, celebrities, they got free time in between projects or whatever, and Keanu Reeves is a pretty chill dude, you know, like, you, like, it's so funny, I always tell people that, like, it's funny, because, like, I was talking to somebody, I won't say who, but I was talking to somebody, and they were telling me how they were hanging out with these people that said they don't like Nomadic Gaijin. And Nomadic Gaijin, for all of you guys who don't know, he's like a vlogger slash live streamer in Japan, right? And he is like one of the nicest guys ever. Like, he's the kind of guy that'll go out of his way to do something nice for you just because he's a nice guy. And because he's so nice, I always fuck with him, and I nicknamed him like my favorite Christian streamer in all of Japan. He's not Christian, but it's just like he's always doing the selfless things for people, right? And he's like overly nice, but not in like a cringe way, you know? And, you know, this person told me that they were hanging out with this group of people that were like, yeah, we don't like Luke. Luke's a piece of shit. We don't like Nomadic Gaijin. And I was telling that person that I was like, look, you know, anybody who hates Luke is not a good person. Like, you know, like I understand if people don't like me. I'm an asshole. I'm very blunt. I'm not nice to people who are retarded. And, like, you know, I warrant a lot of hate from stupid people. But it's okay because they're stupid. But Luke's like a nice guy. He's like the capybara. He can be friends with everybody. So when somebody says they don't like him, that just shows me that those people are pieces of shit, you know? And I don't want to be around those people. And so it's like the same thing with Hulk Hogan. It's like, if somebody... Yeah, Luke, you bet. I don't think Luke watches these, but Luke, I'm mentioning you in my Hulk Hogan memorandum, whatever. Like, I'm mentioning you in my video. That's how much you're like Hulk Hogan, buddy. But, yeah, you know, it's just like Hulk Hogan, man. Like, the only people I saw bitching about him are the people that I would never respect in real life anyway. And that Edward Papanzini guy or whatever was like, as soon as I saw his profile, I'm like, this guy can't be helped. He can't be reasoned with. I just gotta let this guy, like, just fucking be angry until he self-implodes kind of thing, you know? But, I don't know, man. It's just like when the people that don't like your idol are the people that you don't like to begin with, then you know you got the right guy, right? Like, the people that are hating on Hulk are the people that don't have dignity. They don't have loyalty. They constantly complain about stuff versus trying to fix stuff. They're the people that will fucking betray you on the flip of a dime, you know? These are people that are cowards. These are people that are bullies. These are people that have no friends. And it's like, yeah, you know, like you're and they're people that are angry, and they're projecting whatever they don't feel good about onto this person, you know? It's like, come on, dude. Like, the CIA released all those videos about fucking Hulk, or fucking, like, Martin Luther King, right? Or, like, they released all those documents. Like, Martin Luther King cheated on his wife a bunch. Martin Luther King was connected to Jewish communists, you know? Like, Martin Luther King didn't even write his speech. A Jewish guy wrote his speech, and then Martin Luther King, like, you know, he did some edits to it. I don't know how many, but it's like, despite all of that bullshit, I think, you know, there's a lot of people that complain about Martin Luther King, you know, 60 years later, and they're like, oh, that guy, like, he was a grifting piece of shit, fuck that guy. But it's like, you know, it's about the story, man. And, you know, back in the day, no matter what you want to say, like, black people were treated bad, you know, and they were treated as second-class citizens. And it's like, yeah, well, you know, like, some of them are bad or whatever. And it's like, dude, like, just because there's, like, you know, like, I've released this video last week about a grape farmer that's a black guy from Trinidad in Japan. And I got, like, I got these racist-ass comments in the comments section. And it's like, they didn't even watch the video, man. Like, they're like, you know, they're commenting as if this guy was like a refugee taking advantage of the welfare and committing crime. And I'm like, no, this guy, like, he's worked hard. You know, he's had this farm for over like 2 decades, and he's learned Japanese. Like, he's assimilated. Like, this guy's a model, like a model foreigner. You know, like a model citizen kind of thing. You know, and I get these racist pieces of shit who are like viewers of mine that like are, you know, that like that are watching my stuff, and I'm like, dude, like, oh, like, I understand if you have issues with like black crime or whatever in America, but like this has nothing to do with that, man. Like, don't be racist for the sake of being racist, dude. Like, and I think, like, you know, when people bring up Hulk Hogan's like issues of saying the N-word and shit, it's like, Hulk Hogan worked with a lot of black people, and, you know, when you're around people for a long amount of time, you know, especially your black coworkers that could easily grift off of race-related issues in 2025, if they're not saying anything bad about him, then you really need to shut the fuck up, you know? Like, there's a difference between saying a word and being angry in the moment versus, like, hating a whole group of people, you know? And I don't know, I mean, it's the same thing, like, people complaining about Martin Luther King. It's like, oh, he cheated on his wife, he wasn't a good guy. It's like, yeah, the message was important. The message was important. It doesn't matter if a Jewish guy made that or whatever and blah, blah, blah. It's like, the point was is that, like, you know, people were being treated bad, and the government was backing it up, and there needed to be a change. And, like, whether you want to say that was a bad thing or whatever, that's fine. But it's like, the guy was iconic, man. Like, the message, it doesn't matter about the dude. It mattered about the message, right? Like, you know, judge my people by the content of their character and the color of their skin, you know? And it's like, you know, you got to remember that it's like, people are people at the end of the day, man. You know, like, nobody's gonna get out of this game alive, you know? Like, Hulk Hogan, he had this great fucking, like, I've been going through all of these fucking interviews with him. I'm watching a match with him and the Ultimate Warrior from WrestleMania 6. And I'm listening to his theme song, a 2-hour-long theme song loop of his in the background on my phone. And, you know, I'm thinking about, like, God, like, this new generation of kids, like, who do they have to look up to? Like, you know, Hulk Hogan, like, on the surface, he was a guy, he's like, hey, kids, you know, eat, I forgot what his thing, but it's like, eat your vegetables or something, take your vitamins, go to school, Mr. T, drink your milk, whatever, right? And it's like, you know, he's just this guy who's like, hey, man, like, take care of your body, work out, you know, like, do whatever you do the best at what you're doing it. And, like, I mean, like, it's not directly related to him, but it kind of is. Like, at the end of every one of my vlogs, I have that quote from Yu Yu Hakusho from Genkai, one of the characters, and she says, like, what is it? It's like, it's about time you started caring about something with all your heart and energy, but you can't do that if you're always holding yourself back in case, because you're worried that it might not work out, right? And it's like, yeah, man. I mean, like, that's I felt like that so much throughout my whole life, where it's like, I was so worried to fail, or I was so worried to, like, really dive into something and make, like, you know, like, really get into it. And, you know, like, Hulk Hogan, I think, like, he represents strength. He represents, like, again, I don't know about, like, if his family was rich or something when he was growing up, but the guy didn't have that much money, right? Like, you know, like, he was just a normal dude, and it's like, literally, like, I don't know if it's rags, but it's definitely middle class to riches kind of thing, right? And you know, it's just like, Like, yeah, sure, he was born with this genetics that make him super fucking like tall, but like this guy, man, like he, like I think I can't remember if it was 20 or 28, but like this guy had multiple back surgeries because he fucking sacrificed his body so much just to entertain people, you know. And like he never complained about it. Every time he got like interviewed by all these fucking paparazzi and shit, he was never like, oh, my back hurts, like, oh man, like I'm in so much pain. Like he never made his personal life like a problem for other people, you know. And like, yeah, I know his son was like drunk driving or something and he killed his friend or he paralyzed his friend. And it's like, again, man, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, well, what, you know, what can you do, man? Like, it's a shit situation. It's like some people, they're, you know, when you're a larger than life guy, it's hard sometimes for your fucking, you know, when you're a larger than life dude, you gotta, it's hard to be the best dad, you know, kind of thing, right? But I give him a pass. I give him a pass on that because it's just like, yeah, you know, fuck. Yeah, I don't know. It's just, it's funny because like I remember listening to his audiobook and they have it on YouTube. You guys should get it before they take it off. But you know, listening to his audiobook about how him going and getting his leg broken by that Japanese dude at the wrestling place, and then him moving to Japan to do work here before moving back to America, and you know, like God, it's just like who do kids have to be like an icon where they see him all around? It's like Logan Paul. I mean, you know, Logan Paul's a character for sure, but it's just like he's no Hulk Hogan, you know. He's no fucking Hulk Hogan, and I don't know, man. I don't know. I just it's so funny because it's like, you know, you have The Rock, right? And like I don't know, it's just, it's one of those things where it's like, when did the pendulum like switch, you know? Like when did it shift, right? Like it used to be Hollywood was shitty and Hollywood was good, but there wasn't a lot of like activist messaging or whatever in there, you know? And it's like, maybe it's when everybody started using CGI for everything or whatever, but it's like, I remember The Rock, first movie he was in, The Scorpion King or whatever, shitty CGI version of The Rock, and like that movie wasn't woke, you know. But then I think of The Rock in like movies like fucking Jumanji or something, and I don't want to even see any of The Rock's new movies because it's just like, I know it's gonna be some woke bullshit. Same thing with John Cena. John Cena became popular like right after I stopped watching wrestling, so I never really got into him and his stuff. But even then, I'm like, oh great, he gets to be in a movie with Amy Schumer or whatever her name is. Like, you know, like Hulk Hogan for me, he represents like the era of America back when it wasn't woke, you know, back when there was still like when movies cared about, you know, making you spiritually fulfilled, making you come off like you felt strong, like you could conquer the world, you know, back when there was a message, even if the message was maybe shitty or something, like it was, you know, like there was heart to it, you know, like people were thinking, oh shit, I gotta make this last, you know. It's funny because it's like I've been watching all the Gundam series. I'm trying to watch all of them, and Gundam has like 20 different fucking series of like anime shows that came out. And but because of that, like because I started from the earliest ones and I'm working my way towards the newest ones, I'm seeing the progression in the animation, and it's like sometimes there's really good animation, but it you know, the whole part about Gundam is that it's like a human drama, right? And I was watching like Gundam Thunderbolt and stuff, and like that's like one of the newest ones that came out, and it's like a side story from the first story of Gundam, right? And the whole point is that like there's a lot of really nice visuals, but they don't go deep into the story at all. And I mean, I get it, it's like a one-off movie kind of thing, but and I know that it was made from an anime series and then just put into a movie before, but and I know the manga is really long, but it's just like to me, it came off like they sacrificed the story in order to show some really cool visuals. And I know that you can use visual stuff as a way of storytelling itself, right? But I don't know, man. I just feel like I don't know. I just what the hell am I getting at here? It's just when you didn't have that much to work with, you had to figure out how to make a good thing and make it last, you know. And with Hulk Hogan, man, it's just like I don't know, dude. It's just like I feel like back then, I'm looking at this old fucking footage, right, of like the Hulkster or whatever, and it's just I don't know, why does it seem so different? Like when did this come out? Like when was WrestleMania 6? Does it say what year this was? I love it. This was released on the WWE channel, and it doesn't even say what year. Come on, don't make me have to Google this shit. But I mean, the whole point is just like I think there's a difference between blissfully like delusionally swimming in your nostalgia versus really appreciating how things were different and how things are more fake and gay than like now more than ever. And it makes me sad that it's like, you know, the only way these kids will know about this, the future generations, is that if somebody tells them, you know, if somebody shows them. And like I try to do that, you know, with my class, right? Trying to show them how big of a deal this was and everything, but it's like their parents don't care, you know. Like I mean, when their parents' idols like die, are they even going to share that with their kids, you know? I don't know. It makes me think, you know. Like that's one of the reasons why, like I look forward to having kids so much. It's just like I get to share with them all of the cool shit that I really liked until they become junior high schoolers and they don't give a shit. But you know, that's one of the reasons why like I'd like to, you know, why I want to like get in shape, and I mean why I'd ultimately want to get in shape is because like, you know, I want to come off as like a strong guy that my kids respect. So if I'm into something, they're just like you know, have you ever had a girlfriend that like was just not into anything that you were into, but she came along with you just because she liked spending time with you? And it's like you know, like I remember I had one girlfriend who like she, you know, I don't know if she gave a shit about Christmas so much, but I remember one Christmas like we sat down and we watched all these Christmas movies, because that's what I do when it's Christmas time. I sit down, I watch like, you know, Home Alone and fucking like Muppet Christmas Carol and shit. And even though she didn't care about that stuff, she sat down and she watched that with me, and she got into it and she was asking me questions because I liked it, you know. And you know, it's like I taught her something about America that she wouldn't have known unless she had met maybe another person like me. I don't know. But it's like, you know, these people who shape our lives, that shape our childhoods, you know, like it's, of course, everybody in their mom's media back home in America, they're going to remember Hulk Hogan. They're going to do memorials about him and stuff. There'll probably be a documentary about him at some point, just milking this and everything. And I get it, you know, but it's just, you know, I'm in a different country, and I have the chance, the opportunity. I'm lucky to have the opportunity where I can teach these kids about this stuff that I feel like makes me proud to be an American, and that's Hulk Hogan, you know. Hulk Hogan, this guy bigger than life. You could ask me, well, how many championship titles did he win? How many matches was he in? You could ask me all the autistic questions you want, and I won't be able to answer them. I don't fucking know. Like, but I mean, doesn't that show like how cool he was, though? It's like I don't know all the technical shit about him, you know. I don't know how many championships he won or whatever, right? But I do know that the guy is like, but I know of him, you know. Like, I know what he looks like. I know that he's the Hulkster, right? Like, that doesn't that show, like, isn't that cool that you can have, like, two different things like that? You know, that's just, I don't know, that's fucking awesome, right? That's just so cool. And, I don't know. It's just, like, for me, like, people that were iconic that died, like, fucking Steve Irwin and, like, fucking Mr. Rogers and, I don't know who else. I mean, I'm gonna be really sad the day Jean-Claude Van Damme dies, or like Arnold Schwarzenegger dies. But yeah, it's like all these dudes who shaped who I am today, man. It's just it's this whole I mean, I wonder if this was like it for like our generations, like, or what is it, like our parents' generation, right? Where they were like, they you know, where they where, like, you know, they had people that they looked up to that they really respected and they died. I don't think my dad or my mom ever shared any of that with me, you know. But yeah, anyway, I don't know. I bet there was a million other things that I could have talked about and I could have given examples of for Hulk Hogan, but do me a favor, guys. Like, I barely ever get comments on these videos, and I always love the discussion we have in these videos. And just tell me, if you made it this far in the video, go into the comment section and just tell me, like, what are some memories you have of Hulk Hogan, you know? If you want to be a negative piece of shit, you don't need to write down anything. But if you have any memories of what you thought about when you thought about Hulk Hogan or whatever, I'd like to hear it, you know? And, yeah, I'll probably do a live stream after this anyway, so, in fact, I'm recording this the day before Wednesday, so, yeah, I'll definitely be doing a live stream that day. But anyway, yeah, thanks for watching, guys. You stay black. Talk to you later. Deuces.